Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we are talking about a ship whose return is highly anticipated by many, to say the least, because she is probably the most busted ship Wargaming has released here recently, and definitely is one of the single most busted ships released of all time. That's, of course, the Tier 9 Premium Pan-American battleship, the Valpariso. Valparaiso, however you say the thing's name. So yes, the Valpariso is coming back in the Steel Fleet event that will be cropping up, coming with the next update in-game. And naturally, so many of you have asked me to talk about the ship, how she's doing in today's World of Warships and all that jazz, since she was released a fair while ago. I will point this out here at the start of the video. It seems that Wargaming is leaning into the cracked secondary brawler ships here a lot recently, because we got the Valpariso, then we got the Sibir, and now of course we just had the German Panzerschiff line, and the Ad Albert is most certainly a cracked out secondary brawling cruiser, not even a battleship. But yeah, interesting direction Wargaming's been taking here recently. Now, so you can tell in the video title, you may not actually want to pick up the Valpariso, and there's a very good reason behind that. I want you guys to, I know many of you guys, of course, are listening to this as you're hurtling down the road at 80 miles an hour to your job, but when you have the chance, take a peek at just, some of the nonsense that the Valpariso can get up to with its abilities. And if you don't know, the Valpariso is like many other Pan-American battleships, or Pan-American ships in general, equipped with a funny button, the F button, her combat instructions. Now, the Valparaiso has a set of combat instructions that's not all that different from what you can find in the Pan-American tech tree. It greatly decreases the cooldown time of her consumables, very similar to what you'll find on, of course, the cruiser line. But it's the consumables, well, really one consumable that stands out and above everything else on the Valpariso, her heal. The Valpariso is equipped not with a improved heal, nor a super heal. She has a super duper uber mega I just don't feel like dying type of heal, like even better than the Conqueror. Because you see, the Conqueror's heal has a much longer action time than the Valpariso's heal. In fact, if you really try, and you and your friends on that flank really try, you can in fact beat a Conqueror heal and kill it before it can heal itself, right? If you've got 3 or 4 ships that just hard focus the thing down while it's trying to heal. You have zero chance of that with the Valpariso, because the heal dumped so much HP back into the ship so fast that, short of eating a wall of Pan-Asian torpedoes or getting god slapped by a main, you do not care about damage when these heals are going. Now, the party trick with the Valpariso is that, as you might have remembered from 20 seconds ago, her combat instructions greatly decrease the cooldown time of her consumables. By how much? It's like 85%, but in practicality, it gets your heal down to a 3-second cooldown. And if you take Superintendent, you get 7 of these bad boys. And then if you take, I believe it's, what is it called now? Survivability Expert or Improved Repair Teams or whatever. You get another one of these bad boys after you take 2 million potential damage, which is not a hard thing to do at all in the Valpariso. So you just sit there and just keep popping your heals and don't really care about taking damage until you run out, which they gave you, 7 or 8, just enough to basically walk over a flank. And keep in mind, too, that the way you get your combat instructions off in the Valpariso is through secondary gun hits. And they gave the Valparaiso way improved secondaries. They're very similar to the American secondary guns. They have a high degree of accuracy and a really, really quick reload time. So you just kind of walk up to the enemy team and don't stop walking over them, because you don't really care about their opinions on you being alive or not. And some of the stuff you can do on this ship is just so freaking dumb. Like the first match you'll watch, I literally just walk into 3 battleships, a tier 9, a tier 10, and a tier 8, and I don't really care, because what are they going to do? Sink me? No, they're not. They can't. The only threat I had in that group was really from the Brandenburg, because they have torpedoes, but then again I remembered, oh wait, I have 7 of these hills. I don't really care about the Brandenburg's torpedoes. And then you just kind of go for it and proceed to not die. Now, of course, the big downside of the Valparaiso is the fact that it is a Vanguard. You get Vanguard's guns, and obviously you want to build into the secondaries of the Valparaiso, because that's what gets you your combat instructions filled up. So you're not going to take really anything into the main battery guns. So your main battery guns aren't that great, but your secondaries are fantastic at just melting things down. And at the very least, you are going to force the enemy team to freak out, and they're going to, of course, either try to get around to your side and see if they can citadel you, or they can't just stay and sit where they're at, so they have to move. They're probably going to get out of position, and then of course get bullied by your team while they're trying to deal with you. The ship that won't die, that's now on their sides and dumping AP into their broadsides. So yeah, it's a great ship for pushing into a flank and for definitely distracting the enemy team and forcing them to make mistakes trying to deal with you. So this ship is very, very powerful, which of course is why so many are frothing at the mouth waiting for this thing to come back, and she is coming back in the Still Fleet event. Funny how that works, huh? Everybody hates overpowered ships, especially if they're Russian, but my god, do they want to play them. It's okay as long as I'm playing the overpowered ship, but suddenly when I'm playing against the overpowered ship, then it's a problem, right? But yeah, this ship is super powerful, easily one of the most cracked ships in the game right now, definitely one of the most cracked ships ever released. So here, of course, comes the curveball. This ship has been out for quite some time now, and the way she was originally released, you had to spend quite a bit of cash in order to acquire her, because of course Wargaming loves, doing these early access type events for the premium ships now. I know they're not officially labeled as early access events, but when you shove a ship into a super expensive Admiral bundle or force players to gamble for it in random bundles or sequential bundles or whatever, and force people to spend a ton of money on it before releasing it in a more normal manner, I think that's safe to call that a early access event. But yeah, so since that's how the Valparaiso was originally available, not too many players picked her up. I mean, don't get me wrong, I saw quite a bit of them out there, but if the thing had come out for coal or steel, I promise you'd see a lot more. And now, when she returns in the Still Will event, she is coming out for Still. And oddly enough, she's actually one of the cheaper options because she is a tier 9, and a bunch of the other ships coming out in the Still Fleet event are tier 10s. So when this thing comes out, there's going to be quite a bit of them. Keep in mind, too, Wargaming just gave us 30,000 free Still or doubloons, and many a player have of course, been stockpiling their Still in anticipation for the Still Will event coming back at the end of the year. And turns out it's the Still Fleet event now, but, same thing, bunch of Still ships coming out at the end of the year. So all these players that, more casual players, shall we say, that see the Valparaiso, see that it's a ship you can literally just slap W in and simply choose to not die, I do wonder what ship they are going to pick up. I know a lot of you in these comments down below and in other videos have mentioned that, yeah, you are planning on picking up the Valparaiso. So, suddenly, there's going to be a ton of these things all over the servers, absolutely just walking through the other side, and that's going to, of course, lead to quite a bit of uproar in the community. So, what's likely to happen to the Valparaiso here in the coming months after the Still Fleet event? It's more than likely going to get nerfed. And honestly, even if that doesn't happen, it's probably going to get nerfed anyway. Guys, this ship is busted. Like, it's a secondary brawler. I know, I love that gameplay style and everything. It's nice to see one of these guys be a little, overjuiced. But like, look, Libertad got nerfed, and it is it was way less crazy than this thing, right? We've seen far worse nerfs come to ships that are far less busted than the Valparaiso. Same thing happened with the Thunderer, mind you. Thunderer was incredibly powerful back in the day. And as more and more players got their hands on her and they started to populate the servers more, people finally realized, oh yeah, this thing's kind of cracked. And of course, Wargaming had to bring the nerf hammer down on the Thunderer as well. But very much like the Valpariso, what will probably happen at least, the Thunderer got nerfed after she got removed from the game, for sale at least. So that kind of stung. So do keep in mind, Wargaming is not beyond nerfing a ship after she's been removed from sale or her sale period comes to an end. And that's probably very much going to happen here with the Valparaiso. Now, how much are they going to nerf her? Of course, we don't know. I'm just speculating. She may not get nerfed. There's a very small chance of that happening, but I don't find that very likely with, again, just how powerful this ship is. You know, again, far less broken ships have been nerfed, much heavier than against things like the Libertad and the Thunderer beforehand. And this is a steel ship. So if like you're looking for a ship to purchase for steel, you don't normally have, of course, 30,000 steel just sitting in your wallet because Wargaming doesn't give away this much steel that often, or really at all. Just keep in mind that there's a very good chance that this thing is going to get nerfed here in the near future. So do you want to spend your steel that it's going to take you a year to get back up, you know, that amount of steel by playing ranked and such on a ship that's probably going to get nerfed in the future? And I know it's the goofy, ridiculous ship that, you know, you see walk all over the enemy team and you really want one in your own port. I get that. I truly do understand that. But like this thing, I'm surprised they haven't nerfed it yet with honestly how crazy it is. Keep in mind, too, one of the factors that Wargaming does look at is how popular a ship is. So naturally, of course, when the Still Fleet event comes out, there's going to be tons of Valparisos everywhere, which means she's going to be very popular. And they have adjusted, you know, ship stats in the past because of that. So just keep that in mind. There's a very good chance this thing's going to get nerfed. I'm not saying they're going to nerf it the day after the Still Fleet event comes to an end. I'm just saying that spin wisely. Spin wisely. So while yes, the Valparaiso is definitely a crazy fun ship and a really powerful ship right now, I do believe her days are indeed numbered at this level. They might just, you know, touch it a little bit, make it more in line. I know I've seen some people suggesting it should have like parameters similar to the San Martin when it comes to the cooldown and all that jazz of the consumables. So they might go something like that. They might nerf its maneuverability. They might nerf the secondary reload time. They might nerf the amount of combat instructions you get from the secondary hits. Who knows? But I just don't see Wargaming allowing it to exist in this state once there's a million of these guys running all over the server. So that's my 2 cents on the Valparaiso in 2025 and whether or not you should dump all of your steel in it when the Still Fleet event does go off. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll be live streaming right here on the channel tonight from around 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time to around 9 p.m. U.S. Central Time. No, I'm sorry, 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So make sure you guys come out for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday, wonderful rest of your weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.